Hey everyone, welcome to Talk Skeleton. I'm George Skeleton, your host.
And I'm Nora. And George, I have a question for you before we even start today.
Go ahead.
Right now, this exact moment, what language are you thinking in?
That's actually a fascinating question because most people have never stopped to ask themselves that.
Exactly. We just think without noticing the language behind the thought.
And for most English learners, when they want to speak, they think in their native language first, then they translate, then they speak.
And that process, think, translate, speak, it's exhausting, it's slow, and it makes conversations feel like math problems.
Nobody wants their morning conversation to feel like a math problem.
Nobody. So today, we're talking about how to cut out the middle step, how to remove the translation, how to think directly in English.
And before anyone panics, this is not something that happens overnight. It's a skill. It builds slowly, but it absolutely builds.
And every single thing we share today, you can start doing immediately, today, in your normal life, without any special equipment or expensive courses.
Subscribe to Talk Skeleton before we dive in, because this episode is one you'll want to share with every English learner you know.
Now, George, let's start with something honest. Why is translation such a problem in the first place?
Great question. So when you translate, your brain is doing two jobs at the same time. First, it's generating a thought in your native language, then it's converting that thought into English.
Two jobs at the same time. No wonder it feels slow and heavy.
Exactly. And in a real conversation, there's no time for two jobs. Conversations move fast, people respond, topics change. And while your brain is still translating sentence 1, the conversation has already moved to sentence 3.
And that feeling, that falling behind feeling, it makes people panic, and panic makes the translation even slower.
It's a cycle. Translate slowly, fall behind, panic, translate even more slowly, fall further behind.
And eventually, silence, because it feels safer to say nothing than to say something wrong.
But silence, as we've said before, silence is not safety. Silence is the place where progress stops.
So how do we break the cycle? How do we start thinking in English instead of translating into it?
It starts with something very small, almost embarrassingly small.
Tell me.
Single words, just single words. You don't start by thinking entire sentences in English. You start by replacing individual words in your thoughts.
Like, instead of thinking the word for coffee in your language, you think coffee, just that one word, in English.
And at first, only a few words in your thoughts will be English, maybe 5, maybe 10.
But those 5 words, they're the beginning of a direct channel, a shortcut between your mind and English.
And every day you add a few more words to that channel, a few more shortcuts, a few more direct connections.
Until one day, without even noticing, entire thoughts start arriving in English without any translation at all.
That day feels like magic, but it's not magic. It's just consistency paying off.
Now, here's something important. The words you should start with, they should be words from your daily life, your real daily life.
Not vocabulary from a textbook, not words from an exam list, words from your actual day.
The things you see every morning: coffee, window, light, tired, ready.
The feelings you have every day: hungry, nervous, happy, bored, excited.
The actions you do every hour: walking, thinking, working, waiting, trying.
These words, they're already part of your life. You just need to attach English labels to them, one by one, day by day.
And once those labels stick, once your brain automatically reaches for the English word instead of the native language word, that's when thinking in English begins.
Now, listeners, let's do something right now, together.
Look around you wherever you are right now. Pick 3 things you can see.
Say their English names out loud right now.
Phone, chair, window.
Table, door, light.
Whatever you see, name it in English, out loud. That simple moment, that's thinking in English, already happening right now.
Write in the comments, Tell us, what language does your inner voice speak right now? And has it ever surprised you by switching to English unexpectedly?
We genuinely want to know because these small moments, these quiet little victories, they deserve to be celebrated.
Every single one of them. Now, let's go deeper, because replacing single words is just the beginning.
The next step is thinking in English phrases, not full sentences yet, just small, natural phrases.
And phrases are powerful because native speakers don't think word by word. They think in chunks, in ready-made pieces of language.
Like, instead of thinking the word for I don't know in your language, you think I don't know, the whole phrase as one unit.
Or, what do you mean? I'm not sure. Let me think. That's interesting.
These phrases, they're like building blocks, already assembled, ready to use. No construction needed.
And when your brain has a library of these ready-made phrases, speaking becomes faster, more automatic, more natural.
Because instead of building every sentence from scratch, you're just selecting phrases from your library and connecting them.
Think of it like cooking. You could grow every ingredient from seed, or you could have a well-stocked kitchen with everything ready to use.
And most of us, we want the well-stocked kitchen.
Exactly. So, how do you build this phrase library?
You start collecting phrases from everything you already consume in English.
Every time you watch a movie or series in English, pause when you hear a natural phrase, a phrase that sounds real, human, useful.
Say it out loud 3 times, in your own voice. Not to memorize it, but to feel it, to get your mouth comfortable with the shape of those words together.
Because thinking in English and speaking in English are connected. When your mouth knows a phrase, your brain starts thinking in it naturally.
Now, here's something very practical. Keep a small phrase journal.
A phrase journal?
Yes, nothing complicated, just a notebook or even your phone notes. Every day, write down 3 phrases you heard or read in English that felt natural and useful.
And at night, before you sleep, read those phrases out loud, just once, just to remind your brain they exist.
And your brain, while you sleep, it processes everything. It organizes, it stores. And those phrases, they slowly move from your short-term memory into something deeper.
Something more permanent, more automatic.
Now, let's talk about something that many learners don't consider: inner monologue.
Inner monologue. What's that?
That voice inside your head, the one that never stops talking, that commentary running in your mind all day.
Oh, that voice. Yes, mine is very loud. Most people's are. And right now, what language is that voice speaking?
For most learners, their native language, always, automatically.
And that inner voice, that constant internal conversation you have with yourself, that's where language really lives. Not in textbooks, not in classrooms, in that constant internal conversation you have with yourself.
So if you want to think in English, you need to slowly invite English into that inner conversation.
Start small. Pick one part of your day, just one. And during that time, try to let your inner voice speak in English.
Like during your morning routine, while you're getting ready, let your inner voice narrate in English.
I'm tired this morning. The water is cold. I need coffee. I have a busy day ahead.
Simple thoughts, basic sentences, but happening in English, inside your mind.
And at first, your inner voice will resist. It will keep switching back to your native language because that's what it knows. That's what feels safe.
Don't fight it. Just gently redirect, like training a puppy. Patient, consistent, kind.
Every time your mind switches back, you just switch it forward again. No frustration, no judgment, just back to English. Gently.
And over time, that resistance gets smaller. The switching back happens less. The English inner voice gets stronger.
Until one morning, you wake up and your first thought, completely unprompted, arrives in English.
And that moment, that quiet, ordinary, extraordinary moment, that's when you know something has changed.
Something real, something permanent.
Now, George, tell me honestly, when did you first notice yourself thinking in English naturally?
Honestly, it was during a very boring meeting. I was sitting there and I caught myself thinking, this is taking forever. In English, without trying, without translating.
At all the moments.
Language doesn't wait for a poetic moment. It just arrives when you've done enough work.
And that's the message. Do the work, consistently, patiently, without expecting a specific moment.
And the moment will find you.
Now, something practical before we move to our final section. A simple daily exercise that builds English thinking faster than almost anything else.
Tell them.
Every evening, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day. In English, in your head.
What happened today? How you felt? What you did? What surprised you? What made you tired?
No writing, no speaking out loud necessarily. Just think it, in English, like a mental diary.
And because you're reviewing real events, events that actually happened to you, the language connects to real emotion, real memory.
And emotional memories, they stick. They stay. They become part of you in a way that vocabulary lists never can.
Write in the comments, tell us, what language does your inner voice speak right now? And has it ever surprised you by switching to English unexpectedly?
We genuinely want to know, because these small moments, these quiet little victories, they deserve to be celebrated.
Every single one of them. Now let's talk about the final piece, because everything we've discussed, single words, phrases, inner monologue, it all leads to one place.
Where?
Automatic English. The place where you stop managing the language and the language just flows.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
I know, but it's real, and it's closer than most learners think.
So how do you get there?
You stop waiting to feel ready. That's the biggest one.
Explain that.
Most learners have this idea, this picture in their head, of the moment they'll finally feel ready to speak English without translating, without hesitating, without fear.
And they're waiting for that moment to arrive before they really try.
But that moment, it doesn't arrive before you try. It arrives because you tried, many times, imperfectly, bravely, consistently.
The trying creates the readiness, not the other way around.
Exactly. And this is the most important mindset shift in this entire episode, maybe in this entire podcast.
You don't think in English because you're ready. You become ready because you started thinking in English.
Action first, confidence second. Always in that order, never the other way around.
Now let's talk about something very specific. What happens in your brain when you finally stop translating?
Because understanding this, it actually makes the process easier.
When you first learn English, every word, every phrase, every structure, it lives in a separate part of your brain, a foreign section, a place that feels a little distant.
And accessing that section takes effort, time, conscious thought.
But as you use English more and more, something happens. Those foreign words start moving, slowly, into the same space where your native language lives.
They stop being foreign. They start being just language. Your language.
And when that happens, when English stops living in a separate place, translation becomes unnecessary, because there's nothing to translate between. It's all just one language now, yours.
And that process, that migration of English into your core language space, it's triggered by one thing more than anything else.
Emotional connection.
Yes. When you use English in moments that matter to you, moments of real feeling, real experience, real life, the language embeds itself deeply.
Not just in your memory, in your identity.
So stop saving English for study time. Bring it into your real moments, your happy moments, your frustrated moments, your quiet moments.
When something beautiful happens, think about it in English. When something bothers you, process it in English. When you're grateful, feel that gratitude in English.
Because emotions and language, when they meet, they create something permanent.
Something no amount of grammar study ever could.
Now let's bring everything together from today, because we covered a lot.
We started with single words, replacing individual words in your thoughts with English ones, building the first direct connections.
Then we moved to phrases, building a library of ready-made English chunks that your brain can reach for automatically.
Then, inner monologue, slowly inviting English into that constant internal conversation, starting with just one part of your day.
And finally, emotional connection, using English in real moments, real feelings, real life, so it stops being a foreign language and starts being yours.
4 steps. None of them require a classroom. None of them require a textbook. None of them require a perfect level of English.
They just require consistency and patience and the willingness to feel a little uncomfortable for a while.
Because growth always feels a little uncomfortable at first. That discomfort, it's not a warning sign, it's a progress sign.
It means something is changing, something is building, something is becoming.
Now, before we finish, 3 things. 3 things you can do today, right now, after this episode ends.
1. Pick 5 words from your daily life. Attach English labels to them. Every time your brain produces those concepts today, think them in English.
2. Start your phrase journal. Write down 3 natural English phrases you heard today. Say them out loud 3 times before you sleep tonight.
3. Tonight, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day in English, in your head, like a mental diary. No pressure, no perfection, just think it in English.
5 minutes, that's all. But 5 minutes every day, over weeks, over months, that's transformation.
Quiet, invisible, unstoppable transformation.
And one day, on an ordinary morning, doing something completely unremarkable, your first thought will arrive in English, without effort, without translation, without trying.
And you'll smile, because you'll know something changed, something real, something permanent.
Write in the comments. Tell us, which of today's 4 steps feels most useful for you right now? Which one are you going to try first?
We read every comment, and we learn from every answer, because this community, every person listening from every corner of the world, you teach us as much as we teach you.
And that exchange, that human connection, that's what Talk Skeleton is really about. Not just English, connection, real human connection across languages, across distances, across every fear that ever made someone stay silent.
If today helped you, subscribe to Talk Skeleton. Share this episode with someone who is tired of translating, someone who wants their thoughts to finally arrive in English.
Because that person exists in your life, and they need to hear this today.
Until next time, keep going, keep speaking, calm mind, clear English.
See you in the next episode. Keep going. You've got this.